You know, if you've ever read the Qur'an, you might have run into a question that can be really, really confusing. It's this theological puzzle, and it's all about the idea of intercession. And here's the puzzle, right? Does the Qur'an actually permit intercession on the Day of Judgment, or does it completely forbid it? Because honestly, when you look at the text, you find verses that seem to say two totally opposite things. And this is where it gets really tricky. On one hand, you have verses like 248, and it sounds like a complete denial. It says flat out, no intercession will be accepted. But then you turn a few pages and find verses like 10:3, which seem to crack the door open. No intercessor except after his permission. It feels like a genuine contradiction. So, how on earth can both of these be true? It feels like a paradox, doesn't it? Well, the source material we're digging into today argues that it's not a contradiction at all. Instead, the answer is like a key, and it's hidden inside the real meaning of two absolutely fundamental Arabic words. This is where we really start to peel back the layers and unlock the Quran's incredibly coherent message. By just getting a grip on two core concepts, the whole picture of accountability and our relationship with God, it can totally change. Okay, so the first word is Yawm al-Qiyamah. Now, this is usually translated as the day of resurrection, some single event way off in the future. But the Arabic root, QWM, is all about standing. It means to stand up, to rise to responsibility, to maintain accountability. So Yawm al-Qiyamah is much better understood as the principle of standing accountable. It's that moment when consequences just become real and undeniable. And the second word is shafāʿah, which almost always gets translated as intercession. But again, let's look at its root, SHF. It means to pair, to double, to join something to something else. So we're not talking about some kind of supernatural rescue mission. It's really about the act of joining or adding to someone's position. Think of it more like support or a connection. So once you have these more precise, more original definitions in your mind, something really amazing happens. That puzzle we started with, it doesn't just get solved. It pretty much just dissolves. The Quran itself makes this connection for us. It links this day of standing accountable directly with being on your own. Verse 1995 says, everyone will come to him fardan. That means individually, one by one. This nails down the idea that the state of accountability is a state of being alone with your own actions. And this leads to a really powerful analogy that just makes it all click. If accountability is something you have to do yourself, then asking for intercession is kind of like asking, hey, can someone else digest my food for me? It's not that it's forbidden, it's just impossible. It's not how the system works. Digestion is a personal process, and so is standing accountable. Now, let's go back to those verses that seemed to contradict each other. Suddenly, they make perfect sense. The denial verses? They're saying that no outside person can come and join or add to your position when you're standing accountable all by yourself. And the permission verses? They're talking about the only support, the only shafāʿah that actually exists, the one built right into God's system of cause and effect, which works based on your own actions and your alignment with truth. See? Both sets of verses are describing the exact same reality. Responsibility is direct, and it's individual. But hold on, because the argument doesn't stop there. It actually goes a lot deeper. And frankly, it gets way more intense. The Quran doesn't just deny this kind of intercession. It raises the stakes by leveling a pretty shocking accusation against people who go looking for it. I mean, just look at this verse, 10:18. You have people saying, these are our intercessors with Allah. And what's the Quran's response? It says God is exalted high above what they associate with him. And the word it uses there is yushrikuna, which comes from the exact same root as shirk, the grave sin of associating partners with God. And this isn't a one-off thing. The Quran makes this equation, intercessors equal partners, over and over again. In 694, it literally calls intercessors partners. In 3013, the words for partners and intercessors are used almost interchangeably. And then, maybe the most direct of all, in 39:3, the excuse people give for seeking intermediaries, oh, they just bring us closer to God, is called out as a flat-out lie and denial. And what's so fascinating, what really brings it all home, is the historical context. The Quraysh, the people in Mecca at the time of the Prophet, they believed in a supreme God too. Their shirk wasn't atheism, it was trying to approach God through intermediaries, through idols that they called, you guessed it, intercessors. The Quran was directly taking on this exact way of thinking. So, what does all of this actually mean for you? For us, right here, right now? Well, it suggests a huge shift. A shift from looking for mediators to realizing you have a direct connection. It's about standing on your own 2 feet, spiritually. Let's just put it side by side to make it super clear. The traditional view often sees accountability as this far-off event where maybe special beings can step in for you. But the view being presented from the Qur'an's own language is one of direct, immediate accountability. Your position isn't dependent on clergy or saints. It's all about your individual responsibility and that direct connection to the source. And that direct connection, that's really the heart of the matter. The Qur'an emphasizes this incredible intimacy in verse 50:16, where it says, "And we are closer to him than his jugular vein." I mean, if God is already that close, why would you ever need anyone to stand in between? So you might be asking, why is this so important? Why insist on there being no external intercessor? Well, the point isn't to create fear. It's to develop taqwa, this deep, conscious, moment-to-moment awareness that you are directly accountable. It's actually empowering. It means your actions, your choices, your intentions, they matter immensely right now. And that really leaves us with a final, and I think pretty profound question. It's a choice between 2 different ways of being. Will you embrace the responsibility and the freedom of standing directly before reality, before truth, before God? Or will you keep searching for someone or something to stand between you and it? The Qur'an's hidden answer seems to be profoundly clear.